Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the FOX6 Sports Blitz on this Sunday night. I'm Brandon Cruz, joined by Lily Zhao here in our FOX6 studio. Tim Van Voren out late in the night in Cleveland. He's live for us following the Packers game tonight. Let's get right to tonight's starting lineup. A dog day afternoon in Cleveland for the Packers. But our Packers passport is back on the home team. It's all pops and bubbles in St. Louis, while a contagious laugh makes us say what, and we cool things off on the ice with this week's High School Hotshot.
I knew going into this, it was going to be a dogfight, and it was going to be a challenge. And what's disappointing is, I felt like you could argue that we lost the game offensively by making a critical error in a critical situation. And so, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, 13-10 loss to the Browns. Definitely a tough pill to swallow for the Packers. Tim, you were there. Let's start with just one of the breakdowns, maybe the biggest breakdown of all, the blocked field goal late in the fourth quarter by the Browns of the Packers. What happened on this play? Because it looked like everything was going perfectly well.
It looked like the Packers had at least kind of reset themselves, that we're going to have a chance to get ahead with that kick, and they've been very successful with that operation. It just didn't work. The Browns were across the Packers' line of scrimmage altogether too often in this game, certainly on that blocked field goal kick as well. Shelby Harris, Homestead High School, gets his hand up there. He blocks it. The old coach, Dave Keel, would be proud of him, but the Browns obviously able to ride that to a big win. Brandon and Lily, just kind of symbolic of the whole game, I thought. It's like the Packers were building a wobbly Jenga tower all night, and then boom, suddenly the pieces are all over the floor.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy for how this one was. It was shaky all the way through. They were unable to get a lot of offense going. But then after that blocked field goal, the Browns move forward, and they get into field goal range, but it seemed like at the edge of it, 55-yard attempt. And this one goes through as the Browns are able to celebrate walking off with a walk-off win in the NFL and a huge upset.
Huge upset, you're exactly right. Rookie kicker makes it. He's out of the UFL. They credit the Browns. They didn't have a lot going offensively, but they get just enough yards to get into his range, and he drills it. Major adrenaline kick there, and major kick to the Packers.
And Tim, the Browns really put the pressure on Jordan Love and his Packers offense. I remember when Micah Parsons said, give us 20 points and we're going to guarantee you a win. The offense couldn't hold up their end, and that back-breaking interception by Jordan Love, one of the reasons why.
One of the big reasons why, Lily. The Packers were not impressive offensively all day long, but they would have had enough had they not beaten themselves, and the interception was critical. Jordan Love cannot make that decision. Matt LaFleur later apologized for the play call, but the execution by Love and the Packer offense was dreadful. Just a terrible play in that situation by Green Bay. Really the only thing that would have given Cleveland new life, and that's what the Packers provided.
The Packers gave the Browns all the momentum in the fourth quarter, and they certainly capitalized. Let's take a look at how Jordan Love did on the day. Just not the best day for him passing-wise. Was under pressure all day long. And something the offense also couldn't really overcome, Tim, the penalties. What was going on there? 14 of them against Green Bay.
Lack of concentration, Lily and Brandon. What else can you say? Now, the Packers, to be fair, had a shaky practice week. They didn't know who'd be in, who'd be out on their offensive line. Was Tucker Kraft going to be able to answer the bell after he was hurt in practice this week? A lot of distractions during the week for the Packers, but they played like it today. They were not a focused football team. The coaching staff did not have much of a stylized game plan for this contest. I think the Packers looked past the Browns. It would be understandable. Everybody had been anointing them as, oh my gosh, the class of the NFC. So I think it all kind of caught up to the Packers today. Now they have to regroup in Dallas next week, or suddenly this first month of the season takes on a whole new look.
Yeah, it really does. It kind of puts the pressure on them this week. And one of the questions that I had right away is the first play from scrimmage for the Packers offense. They lose Zach Tom with the same injury that he's been dealing with. Why was he even on the field this week if that was really a possibility?
It seemed a little bit of a surprise in talking to Tom and Aaron Banks during the week. Banks was much more confident about his ability to play with injury than Tom was, and then Tom goes out with the re-aggravation of that oblique injury. That is a question the Packers are going to have to answer. They have coaching questions, execution questions, but this is a judgment question that needs to be solved as well.
Well, and it could be because of Jordan Morgan replacing him. Jordan Morgan had all kinds of problems. He had blown coverages, and he also had major penalties that stalled these drives. I mean, what do you do with a young man like that who just didn't seem up to par today?
First round draft choice from a year ago, you would expect that he was going to be smoother in this situation. He'd been playing some left guard, of course, with Banks injured. He had been given a shot at the right guard position and rotated a little bit there earlier in the season, so not a lot of reps at right tackle, but by the same token, this is what killed the Packers in the playoffs last year. They had to sub in against the Eagles, and it all went south on that offensive line. Very similar today here in Cleveland for that aspect, at least.
Yeah, sticking with that, Tim, like you mentioned, just a domino effect when you have to bring out your regular starters, you're reshuffling the offensive line, you're playing a really, really good defensive line in the Browns. I mean, they brought pressure on Jordan Love. It felt like every time he dropped back to pass, the Packers couldn't get anything done offensively because of the pressure. And it just was kind of interesting to see that Jordan Love was sacked 5 times today, Tim, and just not very characteristic of this offense.
Cleveland smelled blood in the water. Give them a ton of credit. Jim Schwartz, aggressive defensive coordinator. Remember his days back with the Lions, and before that, coordinating in the NFL. That's what he wants to do, pin it back and go. He's an unapologetic defensive coordinator, was as a head coach with Detroit, and that's what he was able to do today. Again, as I said earlier, this is all that the Packers could give the Browns to give them new life, to give them a chance in this football game. Bingo, just what happened.
And that's exactly what happened. And Aaron Banks also left the game with an injury as well. And Tim, you were in the locker room. You got a lot of good insight from the guys who played in this game and their reaction to how they move forward. Let's hear what Micah Parsons said, then I want to get your reaction.
This is all part of adversity. Undefeated seasons, like, they're hard in the NFL. Like, let's be real. And sometimes, just like today, you the bed. That's just the reality of it. Like, it happens to the best teams. You know what I mean? Even the best Super Bowl champs make mistakes, and they pay for it early. You know what I mean? You go back to the history of the champions and who they played and games they should have won. It's just part of being natural. It's that competitive. It's that hard to win.
And Tim, that's a question you asked Micah Parsons, a great response from him. What did you think of what Micah said, what other guys said in the locker room of how they're going to rebound after this loss?
I thought there was a high degree of accountability in the locker room today. Now, I know fans will say, well, so what? You lost to the Browns. But it is a good sign as opposed to pointing the finger and making excuses, blaming the officials. No, it was we didn't do our job. Even the defensive guys were saying this was a team thing. We made our mistakes there. Micah Parsons talked about being offside a couple of times. So I think there was a high degree of accountability, particularly from the veteran players that we talked to who understand this is a Week 3 loss to an AFC team. In the long run, maybe it'll be just the humble dose that this team needs. Right now it stings. As Brandon McManus says, what do we do with it?
Yeah, and one thing that you have to wonder is, are they going to be able to come out with that swagger that we saw for the first 2 weeks? I mean, this was a team that you could just see the confidence when they took the field. Now that they get knocked off in this one, and in the way they did, how do they bring that back for Dallas? Or is that even a concern at this point because it's only Sunday night right now?
I think it is a concern, Brent. I think it's a good question because that was part of why they looked so good in the first 2 games, in my opinion. But those were at home. They had time to prepare for those games. Dallas is going to be licking its wounds a little bit after getting pasted by the Bears today, so they shouldn't really be swaggering into Sunday night either. The coaching staff, Matt LaFleur and offense, they have to get it back to going. Again, this is an offensive-based head coach. They need to be able to do more offensively, not just manage a game. Today, they mismanaged the game in the fourth quarter. It cost them a game. You needed to spread more than 10 points ahead of the Cleveland Browns over the course of the game to give yourself a little more cushion. That didn't happen. They need to regroup there. They need to regroup in the health area as well, because that has a lot to do with who will be out there trying to be confident against the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Packers heavily favored in this game today, Tim, and they really let the ball drop and gave this game away, it feels like. Is it time to hit the panic button in Week 3? I mean, if you were kind of looking around the social media sphere, it seems like the world is ending. Is it time to hit the panic button or just relax?
It is not time to hit the panic button. The defense certainly played a winnable game. Without the offensive mistakes, you're still going to win this game. And the blocked field goal, you're still going to win this game. Defense wins championships. I'm not saying the Packers are going to win a championship, but that is something that this team has that's not been wavering, that's not shaken at all by what happens today. Again, maybe this is a good little shot to these guys to say, you know, you're not the class of the NFL. You need to go out there and play like every other team needs to play, particularly on the road.
All right, Tim, you are in Cleveland. You have the Packers passport with you. It got stamped. What was noticed?
Packers stamp, yeah, absolutely, Brandon and Lily. You're exactly right. This week, Dan Zagers. Dan Zagers started in the equipment room for the Packers when he was in high school, worked for the team about a decade, went to the Chiefs, went to the Browns for several years here, just back in Green Bay now. So he was back in Cleveland, saw all his old friends, chance to work against them. He's back working for the Packers now as the scouting coordinator, a real success story. He was driven through the ranks. You know, this outcome wasn't what he wanted, but he enjoyed his journey and his return to Cleveland. We also have As Seen by TVV. If you're out there and you have an observation about the game, you have a question about the game, please come through with those questions. Hit the QR code there. Maybe you just have to get something off your chest. I can't believe such and such. Pop that out to us. Tomorrow I'll have the responses. It's been fun so far this season interacting with you with your questions, your comments. We'll keep it going all season long, guys. Kind of fun. As Seen by TVV, those segments then play on Fox Local. It's a Fox Local exclusive.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what these questions are this week. It feels like it's been easy the first 2 weeks. You might have some pressure to answer these tomorrow, Tim. Thanks so much. We'll be back with you in Cleveland in a moment. But meanwhile, it was a struggle for the Badgers, to say the least, as they lose to Maryland for the first time in program history. Billy Edwards Jr. returned from injury, only to leave in the first quarter with another injury. This game was all Terps, leading to many chanting "Fire Fickle." 27-10 was the final, as Bucky is now 2-2. They're 0-1 in the Big Ten, and good for them. They get a bye this week. When we come back, say what? And more on the Brewers.
What is it when you're the lead of the parade? What do they call you?
Isthmus. Antsiness, or whatever the word is.
You know, I never knew that. You learn something new every day.
We're worried about who's the best in leverage here. What are you laughing at?
I don't know.
You just started laughing? Now you got everybody. Now he's got everybody laughing.
Oh, welcome back to the FOX6 Sports
I'm going to say
Blitz.
6'7". Maybe I have a 10-year-old. That's 6'7" to me. That's why those kids were laughing.
Yeah, that's Jackson Murphy, Pat's son there, who got the giggles. And the Brewers have plenty to laugh and smile about these days because they have clinched the NL Central crown for the third straight year, fourth time in 5 seasons. Brandon, this one was coming. The Brewers had a chance today to win. They lost to the Cardinals, but the Reds helped them out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this time of year. Now you're just trying to line things up, and you get in any way you can, and you celebrate any way you can, because the Brewers know that all they needed was one loss by the Cubs or a win. They didn't take care of their business today, so they go back to the clubhouse. They watch the Reds knock off the Cubs, and then you get this. This is the best part of baseball, being in those in the past. It is so much fun for the players, for the staff, for everybody with the organization, and it's something you take in, even just covering the team. It is such a fun atmosphere, and it's such an earned celebration. This team deserves it, and now they're trying to get the best record in baseball.
I'm really proud about them and what we have done. And I want from the bottom of my heart this year to be different. So I feel that it's gonna be different, and we're gonna be fighting until the end. So we're gonna do that for Milwaukee and you.
For Milwaukee and you, what great words from Freddie Peralta there in the clubhouse, celebrating the win. All right, let's look at their magic number. It's been achieved. They've now been NL Central champs. So the magic number for that top seed is 3. And of course, with this clinching, they've at least earned a first round bye. Now, they are 3 teams, of course, in the mix there to have the number 1 overall seed. If you get that home field advantage throughout the playoffs, the Brewers really, really want that. So off of the high note of the Brewers being NL Central champs, some not so good news today. Brandon Woodruff, one of their star pitchers, Tim, on the 15-day IL with a lat strain. He strained it over the weekend throwing a bullpen. If he is to miss time and not pitch in the playoffs. What would his absence mean not only for what they want to do in the postseason, but also in the clubhouse with his chemistry with this team?
I think all those things, Lily, would be affected, obviously, in a negative direction. We've seen late season Brewer injuries before, right? Devin Williams, Brandon Woodruff, you go down the line, Raleigh Fingers way back in the day. It definitely throws things off. Trevor McGill is out right now. The Brewers are hoping he comes back. It definitely throws things off. I know Matt Arnold said today they have enough pitching to cover in the playoffs, but you have to question.
Yeah, a little bit of an up and down in terms of what Brandon Woodruff will be able to do. The Brewers also lost Jose Quintana. He's on the IL as well. And quickly, Brandon, if the Brewers want to regroup, they have to rely on Freddie Peralta and, of course, Quinn Priester.
Yeah, Quinn Priester has been so solid. They've won 19 straight games that he's pitched. He's won 12 of the decisions straight that he's pitched. So he has been very solid, and he's been a guy that goes out there with confidence. It's where that number 3 position is to take over for Woodruff that is the big question right now.
A couple weeks to figure things out, and we'll see what the Brewers do when the playoffs do roll around. All right, when we come back on the Fox 6 Sports Blitz, our high school hot shot. Keep it here. Welcome back. To say she's an hockey athlete is an understatement. That's because she not only plays 3 different types, she's also excelling in each one. Here's this week's Fox 6 High School Hot Shot.
Hi, I'm Emerson Fink. I go to Arrowhead High School, and I'm a hockey player. Well, I play roller hockey here, and then I play ice hockey for the Chicago Mission, and I also play field hockey for my school. Yeah, honestly, field hockey is a really good experience, and it's really cool to play with my friends who I don't really get to play very many sports with. We were state champs last year, so that was really fun. That was a really fun experience.
Let's see how fast you can go.
Ice hockey came around first to me when I was about 4 years old. We used to skate in our backyard a lot, and I just followed my brother playing because he always played. Yeah, I mean, I love playing with him. We always hung out in our basement, shot pucks together. We always on the rink together. I also played on team with my younger sister. My dad played when he was a little bit younger, and my mom played for a little bit, tried it out. Yeah, so I guess we're a full hockey family. My dad always built a rink in our backyard each winter, so that was always super fun. We'd stay out there for hours. And then we started playing roller around when I was 7. The name of this camp is Farm Tough Hockey. It's just a really cool place. It's got so many different things that you can do. All the different age divisions have their own names. There's the Farm Tough dogs, cows, farm animals. There's pigs, ducks, horses, I think rabbits too. A lot of the jerseys are from Peter when he played on the USA team. And then you see all the trophies too, and it's just super cool to see all the accomplishments that this small program has built. It really is mind-blowing. Just a small little town, and you get people all over the world coming to improve their skills. Last summer, I went to Italy with the USA national team, and then here at Farm Tough, we won a national championship over the summer. That was really fun. Honestly, I'm really good at memorizing things. I know a bunch of random songs, the Elements and Pi and stuff like that, and a Rubik's Cube, I guess. I think my best is 48 seconds, so not too bad. I'm Emmy Fink. I'm a sophomore at Arrowhead High School, and I played on the Women's Junior USA roller hockey team. And I'm this week's Fox 6 High School Hot Shot.
Well, you can tell that hockey is certainly in Emmy's veins, and she hopes to play in college as well. But first, her sights are set on advancing to play for the USA Senior Inline Hockey Team. Meanwhile, later this week, our Week 6 edition of the Fox 6 High School Blitz kicks off on Friday night with Brandon Cruz. I'll be at our Fox 6 High School Blitz Game of the Week. Undefeated Kenosha Bradford hosting undefeated Franklin. It's a battle of 2 Southeast Conference leaders. Gonna be a fun one. We'll be right back.
Well, the Packers lose 13-10 to the Browns today in Cleveland. Tim, Week 1 was a nearly perfect execution by the Packers. Week 2, we saw some mistakes, but it was still a pretty dominant win. Today, we see a lot more mistakes, and it's a loss. What do they do this week to turn the trend back upwards?
Concentration has to be higher, and ultimately the goal, Brandon and Lily, has to be get patched up medically, get patched up emotionally, get out of the month at 3-1, and regroup in your bye.
All right, an emotional week ahead, especially for Micah Parsons heading back to Dallas. The Brewers also with a big week.
Yep, big week, last regular season week for the Crew, and we're going to see if they can get that top overall seed, Brandon.
Yeah, road trip to San Diego and then back home with the Reds. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday night right here on the Sports Blitz.